I thought there was an explosion outside. And I came out and I was just stunned. And then the rest of the stuff just started falling. It was just crazy.
Those of us who experienced our first bad ice storm this year may never forget the crashing tree limbs that sounded like bombs. Lisa Adams says it turned the little town of Holland into something like a war zone.
They just kept falling. You couldn't walk down the stairs. There was trees everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Power stayed off more than a week. People here waited for help from the government, which came slowly or not at all. So people here stepped up and helped each other. They'd put out a call on social media, and before you knew it, around came neighbors to clean up and repair. Lisa got help cleaning up from a neighbor with heavy equipment. She put out a word of thanks, but to this day she remains hurt that Texas, her lifelong home, had failed her. Insult turned to injury when she got her power bill.
My bill is usually about $186, depending on how we use the air conditioner or the heater. And it ended up being $406, and I wasn't really prepared to pay $406.
The stories about the high bills here eventually faded into a background hum as folks continued waiting for help with that problem. Those huge price increases ERCOT ordered to coax more juice into the electric grid. They didn't just hit people in the big cities. They also hit people in towns like Holland, people without the income to pay for those bills. They waited for help here because the governor himself said help would come.
Texans who have suffered through days of freezing cold without power should not be subjected to skyrocketing energy bills due to a spike in the energy market.
Unfortunately, the message of help fell on deaf ears in the New York financial markets. After years of losses from junk bonds, savings and loans, and bad mortgages, investors said the losses had to stop. And they stopped with Texas. Governor Abbott dispatched his only remaining public utilities commissioner to Wall Street to reassure investors they'd keep the fortune they made from Texas throwing money at power companies for just a little more juice. Are you worried about the fact that the governor chose the bond market over consumers?
Yeah, we're the ones who pay his salary.
In Europe, the Dutch finally tamed the North Sea and reclaimed valuable land. But in this Holland, Texas said it would go Dutch, leaving everybody on their own. The state did, though, create a mechanism where power companies could borrow money and pass the cost to consumers over time. No amount of windmills could hold back the North Sea of debt some would take on here. Yeah, but these were supposed to be paper losses. These were supposed to be easy to account for, but Wall Street doesn't seem to want paper losses anymore.
In Texas, we tend to have government that helps businesses and doesn't help consumers. You know, it's a failing, I think, and it's one that we've got to take a harder look at.
Krista Castaneda, an engineer and attorney working in the energy business, points out while the bond market provides the fuel for the Texas economic miracle, people actually make it happen.
While each of us may be an employee of a business, we're also consumers, and we got to balance all of what needs to function here in our Texas economy.
Maybe that's why people here shrugged or yawned at ERCOT's fixer-upper plan, because any fix now comes too late for them and the hundreds who died in the cold.
It was horrible. It was simply horrible.
And besides, most here doubt it'll fix anything. ERCOT released a plan saying, here's how we fixed things. Do you trust him?
Absolutely not.
Because?
Because he didn't do anything for us out here.
Like their counterparts across the sea, the Dutch of Holland, Texas, learned the best help comes from your neighbor and not from a Capitol building.
The community did this. There were people everywhere who could drive a truck, had a chainsaw with a trailer, cleaning up everybody's property.
Some here say they'll plan for next winter, almost as if neither ERCOT nor the governor ever existed. In Holland, Dennis Turner, 25 News.